Security chiefs in Africa are discussing the issues raised by the continued flow across borders of immigrants seeking to reach Europe. Libya continues to be the favored launching point for boats taking immigrants to Italy, Greece, and even the Balkans, primarily due to the unsettled conditions prevailing in some of those climes. Governments globally have taken steps to stem or better still resolve the global migrants challenge, but it rages on. On the flip side, besides what the government is doing to address the challenge posed by illegal migration, the private sector is also involved. Sometimes on the program, we featured a German national who is networking with agencies in Nigeria to check trafficking in persons. On the program today, we are looking at humans not for trade. The need to stop human trafficking by taking appropriate action. You may ask why on diplomatic ties, illegal migration remains a thorny global problem where nations including Nigeria have entered into bilateral agreements to stem this challenge. My guest on the program today is a development expert, Mrs. Queen Aina. Queen Aina is the founder of Hope Without Borders Foundation in Nigeria. Thanks for joining me on Diplomatic Ties.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, precisely that will be our focus today. On part one of the series, we did the Global Migrant Challenge. Today we are doing a part two of it with a focus on humans, not for trade. After this time out. Welcome to Diplomatic Ties.
And we're doing our best to make it as convenient and easy as possible for prospective students.
What we can do is just support the efforts of West African countries to integrate, to organize a better regional, political and economic integration.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Diplomatic Ties, building friendship and enhancing oneness among nations. Watch Diplomatic Ties on NTA International.
I used to hear or have heard a lot about Doctors Without Borders, or where there are no doctors or there is no doctor. And I hear your NGO is Hope Without Borders Foundation.
That's true.
What informed this?
No. That's 2 years ago. Hope Without Borders Foundation is a non-governmental organization. It's dedicated at improving lives of the most vulnerable and disadvantaged in the society. What motivated Hope Without Borders Foundation is actually my passion to help the vulnerable in the society. We had a program 2 years ago where I was working before as a corporate affairs manager. We had a fun fair, and we needed to invite the vulnerable children. I'm talking about the IDPs and also the motherless children. When the children from the motherless home came for the event, and the children from the IDPs came for the event, wow, you could see the difference, you know. And I looked at it when they came in for the event. I looked at it, I was like, they were just neglected. You could see them stinking that early morning. And I just said to myself, are these people really existing? What is government doing about them? You know, that alone inspired me that I needed to focus more on the vulnerable children and women in the society. You know, that's how Hope Without Borders started. And I thought about the name. I spoke with some of my mentors, and they're like, wow, I knew you were going to be great, but just come up with a name for the NGO. And I thought about it, giving hope to the society, giving hope to the vulnerable, and without borders, going across countries, helping the vulnerable people to achieve what they want to be in life. That's how Hope Without Borders came about.
So how did you get involved with migration, human trafficking issues?
Okay, presently we have a project ongoing. It's under our educational project. We want to build libraries for children in the grassroots. So I said, okay, fine, let's start with Wassa. You know, we have a free school there for the IDPs. We have over 421 children for the nursery and primary. This started 2 years ago. You know, so we actually got the funding from a charity shop, Fiona Charity Shop in UK, and they also have a branch here in Nigeria. So we told them about the project, and she said fine, she would want to fund it. And you know, that was a good one for us. So what we did was we did the research, we found out from them what they needed. We had to create a place for the library, started the project and everything. Then when I went for the last one to visit the children in the school, I found out that most of our children were not available. And I asked the head of school.
Which schools is this? The IDP
The
schools?
IDP, the free school we provided, Hope Without Borders educational project, you know. We have a free school in IDP camp. And they were like, most of them are relocated. Where relocated to where? Because these people are vulnerable. We told them, when you intend leaving the camp, you have to let us know. Your parents have to, you know, inform us, you know. So some did. So for some of our children not to be in school for, you know, for the term, we're worried. So that's how, with my team, we thought of most of these children would have been taken, you know, for human trafficking and things like that. So we decided to move ahead to NAPTIP. We partnered with PR Time Africa, and we went ahead to NAPTIP, and we told them there's some issues we're having. You know, we need to do an aggressive campaign about human trafficking in the grassroots.
So you're networking in NAPTIP?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we met with them, and they told them, oh, fine, we welcome platforms like this. So with that, it started 3 weeks ago, and we were able to do the symposium. That was yesterday, and in, like, let's say 2 weeks to come, we have the campaign. It's going to kickstart in the grassroots. And with that, we should be able to, and also we've also informed them about the children. NAPTIP also needs to drive into the IDP camps. They need to know the amount of IDPs in certain locations, so that when they are not complete, they need to work hand in hand with NEMA, so that when the true families are not intact, they should be able to check where is their location, what happened to a certain family, what happened to certain child, why are they not going to school anymore. And you know, with this, we should be able to get a good result.
Okay. Now, if you look at the indices given by NAPTIP, which is this flag, well, it says humans not for trade. And within it, they said irregular migration is illegal entry of a person or group of persons across a country's border. 10,000 Nigerians have died between January 2017 to May 2017 while crossing the Mediterranean Sea and the desert. And a lot of other factors, meaning ignorance, led to this. Now, you said you want to check migration through schools. Is that, what do you think can be done to achieve this for them?
That's a good one. We're looking at, we want to encourage the Ministry of Education. They should be able to put human trafficking as one in the curriculum, as one of the subjects the children should start, because this will really help them to give the children a good foundation from the scratch. By the time from the early years they are aware of human trafficking, in years to come, when someone comes from outside the country, or an uncle from town, you know, from the city, comes to tell them, oh, I have a very good job for your child outside the country, you know, I have a good job for your child, I have certain things to provide for your child outside the country. With the foundation they've had in schools, especially the children, and the aggressive campaign NAPTIP have been able to drive to the grassroots, nobody will come to convince them, like, I have something for you outside the country. They will tell them that we have better things in Nigeria, which that is the part government needs to come in. They need to provide employment, they need to empower people, you know, they need to be skillful, so that nobody comes from outside the country to just cajole them. We have something better. They will tell you our land is better, is greener, because Nigeria is better than some of these countries that our people are migrating to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what efforts are you going to make to ensure that this succeeds?
Okay, in our aggressive campaign, we're looking at driving down to the grassroots. We're starting
in terms of, you want the curriculum to reflect education on human trafficking. To catch them young to understand. So have you followed up on this?
We just started. It's something we just discussed yesterday. You know, yesterday we talked about challenges and solutions to human trafficking in Nigeria, because it's a global problem. So we discussed this yesterday. We're going to meet with NAPTIP. We should be able to have a meeting with Ministry of Education. They should be able to fix this into the school curriculum. It will give them a good foundation. And in years to come, children should be aware of human trafficking and irregular migration.
The seminar you put in place, the experts there talked about the need to reinvigorate the values of our societies. That was one of the things they said in order to check this.
Yeah.
How do you intend to drive this?
You know, social platform is another way. It's a platform where we can be able to get the youth, because that's their focus right now. And I always tell the youth, we've lost it in one way or the other. When you're going to all these social platforms, you should be able to go to some certain topics that would motivate you to be who you want to be. Not going to Facebook, for example, and you're seeing the style. Yes, you have to be fashionable. But when you're going on Facebook, Instagram, most of these social platforms, you should be able to check topics that will motivate you. Not just checking fashion, checking who is getting married, checking most of those things. I tell those that come to me for advice, I always tell them, how many times have you gone to Facebook today? And they're like, I say, what have you checked that would motivate you to be who you want to be? They're like, okay, I say you need to do something. Forget about waiting for government to provide jobs. When you're out of school and you're staying 2 to 3 years, have you asked yourself, staying this too long, is it going to help me in future? We can actually think and develop our skills. And, you know, that really help.
Okay, from your testimony, it looks you have a strong collaboration with NAPTIP in Nigeria. Do you have collaborators or people you network with outside Nigeria?
Presently, on human trafficking and irregular migration, no, we haven't.
What plans do you have towards this?
We intend, by the time we start the aggressive campaign with PR Time Africa and NAPTIP, we should be able to write to agencies outside the country, and also border agencies, border communities need to work hand in hand with NAPTIP, with immigration office. They need to work hand in hand. By then, they should be able to get accurate numbering, accurate documentation of those traveling out of the country, those coming in, either legally or illegally. They need to checkmate their documentation and actually go back to their policies and know where they are not getting it right.
Okay. Now, the other aspect I need to find out from you is migrational issues are very thorny in the world. Every country is up to speed with it. Most nations of the world have entered into MOUs all towards stemming, checking migration in the world. And it's about time we say we can't stand alone on this.
Definitely
no.
not.
Now, from the private sector perspective, what comments do you have about the steps the federal government has taken so far, mostly bringing back Nigerians who were stranded in Libya?
Federal governments have been able to go this far to deport those that had issues in Libya and other countries, and we want to appreciate them for that. They're really doing a good job, but they need to do more. They need to do more in the sense that they need to fund NAPTIP. They need to do more campaigns in the grassroots so that people will be aware of trafficking, so that by the time people are going out of the country for greener pastures, they already know the dangers. They are either going to be used for prostitution, trade slavery, sales of organs. That's in the sense where they have to take off their organs for sale, and most of them don't survive it. You know, so they need to be aware of all these dangers. So by the time that campaign is done in our country, they will be able to checkmate those outside the country, to deport them back, those that have issues. Then also NAPTIP needs to collaborate more with community countries to be able to have an office, if possible, in most of these neighboring countries. They need to have an office there. Their staff need to go once in a while. You know, that's their duty. They need to go out at night, check most of. They need to have an insider in those countries that gives them information. At that point, they will be able to drive in, work with government to deport more people, and not just by deporting them, they need to empower them to change their mindset that there are better options in Nigeria than going outside the country.
Our focus again today on the program is networking in the trafficking against persons. We first did with a German national who does it with a lot of agencies in Africa. Today on the program, we are doing Hope Without Borders Foundation, a Nigerian-based NGO that is trying to catch them young, educate young Nigerians to get aware so that they don't fall victim of trafficking. And our focus basically is on what NAPTI says, humans, not for trade. How far is she doing with networking to ensure that Nigerians are not vulnerable in the human trafficking business? After this time out, the conversation continues. Welcome to Diplomatic Ties.
And we're doing our best to make it as convenient and easy as possible for prospective students.
What we can do is just support the efforts of West African countries to integrate, to organize a better regional, political and economic integration.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Diplomatic ties, building friendship and enhancing oneness among nations. Watch Diplomatic Ties on NTA International.
Now, as we speak on this program, yes, you've said you're making plans to network with other agencies to collaborate to assist the Nigerian government do this. You might also be thinking of going with other countries too. But what message will you have for families, despite the dangers involved, inherent dangers, visible danger, the advocacies everywhere? Families, people are still getting involved in this. What message do you have for those who do business in this, those who are like to be victims?
No. We need to go back to our parenting lifestyle, where we need to encourage parents. You need to stop scolding your kids, comparing your kids with other children. Because by the time you start scolding your child, you're pushing your child to the world. Okay, you're out of school. It's been 2 to 3 years now. Can't you see Emeka doing well? He's been out, he's been to Germany, he's been to certain countries, and he's back, he's doing this for the parents. What about you? Why are you just in the house eating my food? Things like that. No. As far as you were able to train your child to a certain level in life, you know, you've been to university, you're out of NYSC, and you're just there in the labor market to search for a job. You know, call that child back. Find out the challenges the child is having. Is it that you have challenges during your interview? Are there some things you're not getting right when you go for interviews? Are there some things? What are the kind of jobs, you know, you've been able to apply for? These are the certain questions you need to ask your child. But parents of these days will be like, you're comparing your child to this person, you are not doing well, you know, all those issues. So my advice to parents is we need to curtail our anger. We need to bring them back home. You know, advise them on what to do. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. That's the major key points, you know, in parenting. Don't compare yourself to, you know, to others. And if your kids are having challenges on getting a job, you can assist them to empower them. You know, if I haven't gotten a job somewhere and my parents call me and like, okay, you haven't gotten a job for certain years, what would you like to do? What would you like to trade on? By the time you give encouraging words to youths like that, you won't find a child want to go to other countries. I don't want to mention names. You won't find them want to go to other countries and want to go for greener pastures. Because when the land is green, Nigeria is better than some of the countries they are moving to. Why should they be thinking of that when they can actually start from the grassroots? So my advice is encourage your child more to sit back in Nigeria and progress. It's just like when you have to progress, it takes a step. And by the time you're in business for 2 to 3 years, you find out that you have achieved some things.
Okay, what about the people involved in this business who are making money out of this? Do you have any word for them?
Government needs to prosecute them. They need to have like an agency that need to go to the grassroots, because we have people that are aware of this business, even in the community. People right now, people are packing their things, getting ready to leave this night. So every night we need to, if we're going to be working with the security agencies, they need to checkmate those people. You know, at night they need to go to the border countries, communities. They need to find out who are the set of people living certain communities at certain time. You know, if it's calling people to tip them, you know, like just like what we did for blowing the whistle with EFCC, you can always tell people, okay, if you say certain things about human trafficking and irregular migration, you have a reward for this. And by the time we go that way, we find out that people come out talking because they know there's a reward.
Now, some Nigerians have been returned under the arrangement by the federal government from Libya precisely.
Yeah.
And it was a huge delegation. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, led that delegation. We have the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, the DG of the National Agency for Prohibition in Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, the Human Rights Commission, Sadia Farouk, and immigration was involved. They are back in the country. It's possible that some of them may want to defect and go back to where they came from. What message do you have for these ones? Imagine you're talking to them now, or you're taking as somebody who is in this business, okay, come and speak with this one so that they can have a mindset reorientation. What are you telling them?
I think they need to learn from what they've been through in the past years outside the country. They need to learn from the suffering that they've been through in the past years in other countries. By the time the few months that they've been home, they need to compare their lifestyle to the one they had outside the country, where as they've been back to Nigeria, are they better off? Are they suffering? Had they been forced to go into slavery? Had they been forced to have sexual intercourse with other people? Had they been, is any of their organ being donated? It's just for them to have a rethink. Then also, we also need NAPTIP, though they are doing it right now, we need NAPTIP to also go in there, encourage them. We need NAPTIP to go in there, encourage them, empower the returnees. And by so doing, they wouldn't have the mindset of going back to suffering when they know that Nigeria is better off than when they left the country.
Okay, the other question I need to ask you basically is, you're targeting education.
Yes.
Do you intend to take it to the tertiary educations too?
Definitely.
You have talked so much about the kindergarten, the primary.
Yeah, because I believe in foundation.
You plan to step up?
Definitely. I believe in foundation. Hope Without Borders believes in foundation. By the time you give a child a very good foundation, they grow with it. And we have to nurture them. It's not just by giving them a good foundation and just hold our hands back. We have to nurture them to their tertiary education. We have to also, you know, provide for them, encourage them about human trafficking and why education is the key to life. You know, most people always like, why education, why education? You can always be a businessman, you can do some trading and everything without going to school. Yes, we believe that. That's why we also have empowerment. We have a program coming up soon, empowering 100 women in Abuja. You know, so we have partners. We also need more people who want to come on the platform, encourage them. And okay.
Now, this question is, let me start with this. From your flyer here, you said, it is a crime to deal with any person as a slave. It is a crime to remove, buy, or sell human organs. And it's a crime to organize foreign travels which promotes prostitution of any person. One institution or one group that is very, very strong to that you can also network with, I don't know that you do that, at a faith-based organization, talking about the Christian, the mosque, the churches, the town group community meetings. Are you planning to do this with them?
Yeah, it's now time now where we have to bring our religious leaders into the human trafficking system. They need to preach this in their centers, either in the church, in the mosque, anywhere. The religious homes need to preach this. They need to let their members be aware of human trafficking and irregular migration. They need to let them know the dangers in it. And by so doing, when we have religious leaders collaborate with NAPTIP, with governments and other foreign agencies, we should be able to tackle human trafficking just the way Ebola was tackled. And believe you me, in few months to come, we'll find more people coming out to talk about human trafficking, how their experience, the returnees, some families that have sold out their children, you know, they want to voice out the pain that they've been going through. Because right now, there's lots of families going on. There are lots of families in pain about their children. They are regretting. We had a woman that came from Adamawa yesterday. We had a couple of people that came for the symposium, and you know, they expressed their feelings about the Chibok girls. Their girls are missing, and that's still part of what government needs to tackle.
Okay. As a last word, what message do you have for Nigerians generally regarding migration, and how soon do you intend to network with a foreign-based NGO? Because for now you say you are a standalone.
Yeah, my message to Nigerians is the greener pastures you're going to look for outside the country, we have them here in Nigeria. You need to look and you'll be able to see them. Government needs to do more for the communities. Government needs to drive in down to the grassroots, needs to enlighten people about human trafficking and irregular migration. You know, people believe until they travel out of the country before they can succeed. No, it's not like that. You can actually we can stay in Nigeria and become who you want to be.
Okay, you want to say the message with your flyer?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can we do that together,
okay.
please? Stop human trafficking.
It is, and it is here said that humans not for trade.
Not for trade, that's
And
true.
if we stop human trafficking, what happens?
If we stop human trafficking, we'll have a better life, we'll have a better future.
Okay. Thank you so much, Queen Aino.
Thank you so much
It
for
was nice
having me
speaking with
today. Okay then, thank you.
Migration remains a global challenge, and a lot is being done by governments across the world. People from the private sector are also involved through various NGOs, and it's really, really raging. And that's why we focus it today. And you may be asking why migration or human trafficking on diplomatic ties, because it remains a global problem. The message has been stop human trafficking. This is the message from NAPTIP in Nigeria, collaborated with so many other NGOs. And other emphasis is humans, not for trade. You dare not trade a human being for any wealth. It is a crime against humanity. That was the focus on diplomatic ties today, and always be there to watch the program. Thanks for watching. On behalf of all of us, bye-bye. Welcome to Diplomatic Ties.
And we're doing our best to make it as convenient and easy as possible for prospective students.
What we can do is just support the efforts of West African countries to integrate, to organize a better regional, political and economic integration.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Diplomatic ties, building friendship and enhancing oneness among nations. Watch Diplomatic Ties on NTA International.